Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another movie review. This time we're going to be talking about Warcraft, which was released earlier this year. I just now got around to watching it last night. I rented it. Yeah, people actually still run physical copies of movies, I guess. That's still a thing, apparently. I rented it on Blu-ray. And I just want to say right off the bat that I never played any of the games. I've heard of them, I know what they are and such, but I never personally got into them myself. So I wasn't going into this movie expecting a dead-on accuracy to the lore, the history. I wasn't going in ready to pick it apart like some fans or something either. I was going in just looking for a fun fantasy action adventure type of movie, and with Travis Fimmel, and Travis Fimmel is an actor I like quite a bit due to his work on Vikings, which of course is him pictured right there on Vikings. He's an excellent actor, and so really, I was just excited to see him in this movie. Just to see him in a fun fantasy action adventure, like I said. And in this one, he stars as Lothar, commander of one of their armies and such. Of course, the over the top armor and such, which is pretty accurate to the games from what I've seen. But I got it. I had a lot of fun with this movie. Travis Fimmel's character, I'll just talk about him right off the bat. Like I said, Travis Fimmel is an excellent actor, but he doesn't get a whole lot to work with in this movie. King Lothar, not King Lothar, but Lothar is, sort of your typical lead, like your typical lead would be in this movie. There wasn't a whole lot to his character. Some reviews have criticize the writing for him as just being this generic action guy. There's not really much going on with him, but in the movie they do give him a little bit of depth. They do give him some shit to go through for sure. Of course, there's spoilers in the title, but he ends up losing someone very close to him, and I like how that was done, mainly because I'm such a fan of Fimmel's acting. So I appreciate that I got a chance to do that, but I feel like they could have given him a bit more to chew on with the script and such. But the movie is basically about, there's this, there are these orcs versus the humans, but it's a bit more complicated than that, because on one end, like you said, you have Lothar, you also have Dominic as the actual king at the time anyway, of course pictured there, and then the other side of it, you have Durotan, who is shown right here, and before I get into the story, I'm working with some new picture type of stuff in this one, I guess. But with the story, it's pretty simple, really. There's this villain going around, this orc, and there isn't really a whole lot of motivation for him. Honestly, we just hear that he wants these evil ways and such. It's a bit thin. But I'm sure if I played the games, I'd understand it a little bit more. So I'm sure there's a little bit more to it than that. But then you have, Durotan, who, the voice work in this movie is pretty good as well, as the motion capture is pretty nice. As you can see right here, the actor who played him, Toby Kebbell, I think his name is, he did a very good job. He was probably the fan favorite character in the movie, from what I heard. Although I was more attached to Lothar, but that's probably because Travis Fimmel plays him. But I really like the motion capture work in this, especially for the facial expressions on the orcs, of course. The orcs themselves look pretty good. The CGI in this movie, it's pretty good. It's a very well-lit, well-colored film, and I really like the visual look of it. I think it was very eye-popping to look at. And like I said, the orcs look pretty good, but there are times when there are shots of some of the more background orcs that don't look quite as good. But overall, I think it's a very nice film to watch, visually for sure. But yeah. And the villain in the movie, like I said, they could have explained or given him more of a motivation, I feel like. Again, just playing with the stuff. He's alright. He's trying to open this other door to let more of his army in and such like that. And the other orcs are sort of divided. Some of them see it as more of a Durotan's way. And, they try to hold on to that noble or, honor side of the race that they had previously known. But this new, sorcerer type of orc, or whatever he is, sort of steering them in the wrong direction. Then you also had, suddenly forgetting the names. That's amazing, Jacob. Paula Patton as Garana. She's this strong-willed half-breed orc, and she, pictured here, of course. She also plays the love interest, sort of the love interest to, Travis Fimmel's character, and that I think could have been explored a little bit more. Although I do like them together, I think they made a decent, little story with them. But they could have expanded much more on that for sure. But I do like her quite a bit, although she could be a bit too over the top at times. I thought she did fine in the movie for what it was. But yeah, so the story isn't anything to really write home about. But I'm sure you would get more out of it if you knew the games, if you played the games. There'd probably be a little more fan service in it for you. And there's also this other orc, Black Hand, who Lothar comes into conflict with. When, like I said, one of the scenes in the movie, Lothar loses someone very close to him, that being his son, and this guy is directly responsible for it. So we kind of get a payoff of that later when Lothar is finally able to kill him after the orcs let him fairly challenge him in a one-on-one fight, which is cool. I was also surprised that Durotan was killed off in the movie by the main villain. I didn't really expect that. I expected to see him and Lothar end up working more closely together or something like that. Perhaps in a sequel later on as well. But he was killed off. He's drained of his soul and his energy by the main villain. So I was pretty surprised by that, but in a way that does sort of help the storytelling if you get that sort of that sense of not realism, but like danger, and that a character can actually be killed off like that. And with Durotan's death, it does sort of like inspire his people and to sort of see more of that honorable, better way about themselves that they've been missing for a while. But yeah. It's like I said, the story is what it is. I'm sure you get more out of it if you play the games and know the history and such. But the action in the movie, like I said, the CGI is really nice for the most part, minus some shots here and there. But the action itself, it's pretty exciting. It's pretty fun to watch. It is only PG-13, so there's not really any blood, minus some other color blood from the orcs and such. But you really feel like the impact when the orcs hit the humans with these big hammers and such. So I think it's actually pretty cool. So honestly, I had a pretty good time with this movie. I know it didn't do too well in the US. It got like 40 some million or something like that. But it did really well overseas, especially in China. It got like I think like a few million actually, like 400 million or something like that. So I don't know if a sequel is going to be made, but I honestly hope it is, because I'd love to see a continuation to this. I enjoyed it that much. And he also had I forgot to mention, he also had Ben Foster in this movie, playing the Guardian. And, Ben Foster's a pretty well-regarded actor. I even liked him in something like 3:10 to Yuma with Russell Crowe. And he does fine in this movie, although he's a bit on the dry side, I think. And that's one of the issues I do have with this movie. And that is, besides Travis Fimmel and the motion capture work on Durotan, I feel like some of the other acting is a bit on the dry and dull side, honestly. Some of it just didn't really work for me. And I know there's about 40 minutes or like an hour cut out of this movie, so I'm wondering if it would have helped to see more characterization from some of them if we got to see the part of it that was taken out. But overall, I did really enjoy this movie. Like I said, I really liked Travis Fimmel, just being a fan of him previously. I liked the action quite a bit. The CGI is very nice, especially the scenery and the environment. I liked how it was lit and things like that. and the action was pretty good. Although I feel like some of the characters could have been a little bit better. There's also this like a young up and coming gifted mage who's sort of mentoring under Ben Foster's character. I thought he was given a little bit too much screen time, and I thought there were some lulls in this movie that went on a bit too long. But overall, I did like it. I do think it's a good time, and it definitely doesn't deserve the critical lashing it got. I think it's a very fun movie, very entertaining, and I probably will be buying it. Although mostly because I like Travis Fimmel so much again. But yeah. So overall, I'm kind of divided on what I'm going to rate this movie. On one hand, I want to give it a B-, but on the other hand, due to some parts with the cast and such and the story that weren't quite up to par to me, I feel like I can only give it a C+. But yeah, definitely I did enjoy Warcraft, and I highly recommend you watch it if you're a fan of the games or just a fan of action, fantasy, adventure type of movies. I think you'll get a decent kick out of it. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I'm sorry about the pictures being switched around and such. I'm trying to get used to doing that, see if I can pull it off a little bit more. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, I'm giving Warcraft about a C+, but I feel like after I watch it again, maybe I'll bump it up to a B- or so. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this quick video. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.